Not to mention the crystal orb is perfect since it has a growth effect. With the double skill activation, he could even kill high-level monsters instantly. Additionally, this boss usually drops a book, but thanks to the blessing from the goddess of love, he receives something of better quality. He knows that without the help of the buff and the goddess and the two girls, he couldn't have won alone. So he turns to the two and tells them he prepared 2 pieces of equipment for each of them. They are bronze rank, but for now, they should be sufficient. They are all happy, thanking him, especially since they did nothing and are still getting good items. They hug each other, but they should be hugging our boy. The protagonist says it's okay. After all, he knows the auction has a limit on the items you can register, so he needs to give some to them and sell the rest. And anything worthless, he will use to raise the level of the crystal orb. With that, he says they're done here, and it's time to return to the main city. Seeing the protagonist group leave, everyone starts saying they need to be revered. It's amazing they won with just 3 people. While most guilds were stuck, these 3 managed to win. But in reality, everyone thinks it was the knight's achievement. They say she is now the rank 1 in the entire country. While everyone tries to talk to her, our boy sneaks away unnoticed, saying he'll meet her later in the beginner village. A while later, he asks them if they have anything to do. They say no, so they are teleported to the city of Julu. Once again, everyone is impressed with the graphics and realism of that city. The protagonist says now the real game begins. They enter a mansion, and he tells them to collect all the monster-killing quests from the NPCs. He mentions he has something to take care of, and they'll meet later. He goes to the treasurer's office and says he's there to run a shop. The guy asks if he wants something inside the mansion or on the streets. He replies, inside the mansion. The guy shows the layouts and floor plans of the shops, asking which one he wants. The protagonist knows that since it's not possible to auction many things, he will need to open a shop to sell the leftover items. Besides, when the girl from the apartment reaches level 10, he will also need a place to sell cosmetics. So he says he wants to buy 6 shops. He is sure that area will become a very important commercial zone. With the money he earned from the sword, he can sustain it for a long time. The guy says that renting all those shops right now will cost 10,000 gold for a year. Our boy doesn't hesitate, and with that, the deal is done. He then goes to find a priest profession mentor to unlock the 3-star skill book. Knocking on the door, a sweet voice tells him to enter. Her name is Evelyn, and she is a very dense instructor who asks how she can help him. Embarrassed, the boy says she is indeed a very powerful healer. She says any dead man would be revived by her. Awkwardly, he says he's there to unlock a skill. Seeing it's a 3-star book, she says he's quite impressive. However, she warns that as amazing as it is, it will cost 50 gold to unlock. For our boy, that's a pittance. So he unlocks it and gains a sacred light field. It summons a 20-meter hexagram where everyone is healed by 100% of his power for 10 seconds. As always, he uses the skill with the Yin-Yang passive. Now, everyone within the hexagram will lose 200% of his attack power and health per second. Our boy is confident that within this domain he is invincible. With that resolved, it's time to find the 2 girls to start doing missions. Suddenly, he receives a message from the knight asking about an infinite challenge, wondering if she should accept it. The protagonist knows it's a very good mission, so he tells her to accept it. It's a mission where you can choose to earn a lot of experience or many items. However, there's a final option where you can get both, but it's much more difficult. She was going to explain all this to him, but obviously he already knows everything and tells her to accept. In another city, the guy who got outsmarted by the protagonist is furious. Someone arrives and tells him they found the 3 people who stole the first kill of the shadow boss. They say it's a knight, a priest, and a summoner, who are currently in the city of Julu. Despite not being in a guild, they are definitely skilled. However, the leader doesn't care, saying that if they had the courage to steal the first kill, they would have to pay the price. He orders all 300 guild members to go to the city of Julu. They will take turns killing those 3 all night. A servant suggests that this might be too many people just for that, and moving most of the members from another city would be expensive. But the leader insists. They stole the first kill to provoke them, so they need to show what happens. Otherwise, no one in that server will respect them. Back with the protagonist, the system notifies him that he has received the infinite challenge. He needs to challenge the Abyss Rift level 10 of rank A, which is in the Nightmare Forest on the west side of Julu. They must enter and kill all the creatures. However, the infinite challenge cannot be abandoned midway, and if he fails, he will lose all rewards. The worst part is that a rare item will drop. Despite all this, he seems happy and confident. The girls ask if he knows what the reward for that place is. He says the first person to clear that place gets double experience and items, so they should prepare quickly because the challenge is about to start. The scene then shifts to them entering the challenge, and a level 10 demon soldier appears. This time, you will need the knight to withstand some of the attacks. Now well equipped, she is managing to do some of the work. Our boy reminds her not to worry about dealing damage and just keep dodging. Megumin apologizes for being so useless. At the moment, she can neither deal damage nor draw attention. But our protagonist says it's okay since summoners are like that in the beginning. However, when they reach level 20, they become much stronger. But early in the game, it's best for her to just stand still and not cause much trouble. Megumin knows this is true, so she smiles and accepts it. For her, just gaining experience is perfect. More demons arrive, and finally the knight is really contributing to the group. Our boy tells them to stay calm, as this will be easy. He uses the new circle and now is dealing 1120 damage. Meanwhile, in the Dragon's Flight Guild Hall, a guy tells the leader to check a video on the official forum. The leader steps out of the capsule, saying not to bother him while he's playing. But the guy shows a huge group heading to Julu. The leader recognizes it as one of his rivals and wonders why he took the whole guild there. The assistant says it's to deal with the guy who stole the first kill of the shadow boss. Yama was foolish and spent a huge amount of money just to buy a sword that this guy apparently sold. That's why he's seeking revenge. However, the leader says Yama is thinking about it too simplistically. Yama actually wants to use this situation to show they dominate the server. However, as good as that plan is, they can't let all the good things go to this guy. He says it's time for everyone to head to Julu as well. The guy asks if they will cause trouble for Yama. He says no. Instead, they will recruit the people who got the first clear of that dungeon. Meanwhile, in the Infinite Labyrinth, the protagonist and his friends keep killing creatures. His inventory is so full that he can't pick up any more items. The good thing is that he can keep feeding the orb with useless items. A sword, clothing, or staff gives an additional 10 power. The inventory now only has good items left, and all the trash is being used to level up the orb. Soon enough, the orb reaches 300 of 300 and ranks up for the first time, further increasing intelligence and doubling the chance of activating his skill twice. Even the protagonist thinks about how overpowered this item is becoming. With a 40% chance of double casting, he is practically invincible. However, the knight has drawn a bunch of monsters and warns that she's about to die. Our boy tells her to come closer and quickly finishes them off. The monsters disappear, dropping more items. Even he wonders when it will end. 3 minutes later, he reaches level 12, spends some points, and now everyone is loaded with items to carry. Megumin is happy since she gained a lot of experience too. The system announces that they have finished the rift. They are happy to leave, but he tells them to wait. Confused, they are told it's not over. Suddenly, a crystal spins in the air, and an elite rank 10-winged demon appears. Our boy knows this is the last monster and has a 100% drop rate, so he's sure to get gold rank item. He starts healing the monster, which angrily charges at him. However, he has teleportation, so he easily dodges. 30 seconds later, it's over. The girls are shocked that he defeated it alone in less than a minute. The item dropped is the Demon Blood Battle Armor, which greatly increases defense and constitution, and has a chance to activate a healing effect when attacked. Obviously, it would be great for the knight, but it would hide her strongest attribute. Our boy knows that item is extremely powerful. He receives so much healing that's practically like doubling your health. He also received a blueprint for a dress, which he will give to his friend from the apartment. With everything finished, it's time to return to the city. 30 minutes later, the guys in the city are talking to the leader, asking if the information about the guy being there might be false. The leader says they've searched everywhere, so they must be outside hunting. The plan is to stay at the gate until they return. Finally, it looks like they've arrived. Our boy recognizes them and wonders if they are trying to cause trouble. As he passes, one guy warns him to be careful. The knight asks who they heard that from, and the protagonist asks why Yama is hunting him. However, he knows very well why. It's probably because of the sword he sold to the guy. He then tells the girls to walk around the city and gather information. He will turn in the mission and contact them later. He goes to one of the shops he opened. The bronze items will be sold for at least 20 gold, and the armor will be left in the shop without a price, just to make people envious. While he thinks about the next steps, they contact him, saying that outside there are over 300 people brought in to execute him. It also looks like more than one guild is involved. Our protagonist seems excited about this, saying things are getting interesting. However, if they all came for him as a reward, he will put them all in the grave. It's the perfect time to activate a certain quest and use these players' lives. In the southern part of Julu, there's a guy sleeping and he approaches, calling him the Lord of the city. The Lord asks how he knows who he is. The protagonist says he believes in the guidance of the gods and wants to activate the quest that only starts when the Lord is not in the mansion. The Lord says if that's the case, he will get straight to the point. He says, according to the will of the gods, he will provide guidance for the adventurers who arrived from another world in this city and will release the Lord's request for those who completed the quest. The system then says he activated the limited quest of Julu City. Go to the northern part and obtain the Heart of Flames from the stone beast. Then bring it to the Lord and receive the light of the city's Lord. The more stones brought, the greater the reward. But the quest has a time limit of 3 hours. The Lord says that since he is the first adventurer, he will give him a tip. Do not provoke the King of Flames in the deepest part of the north. The protagonist thanks the Lord while thinking, even though the game has just started, I need to dig this grave here. The mission then appears on the city board for everyone to activate. Now in Area 9, there are level 10 stone beasts where Yama and his group are arriving. He says that there aren't many players yet, so they need to finish this quickly. One of them questions if they should keep provoking the team that stole the first kill. Yama says no, as the mission is more important for now. After they finish here, they can find that player and take him out. The other guy, who was in the auction competition, also appears. Seeing Yama, he asks what he's doing there. "Have you given up on hunting the guy who stole the first kill?" Yama says that obviously this mission is more important than hunting that team, and asks if the guy is only there to take advantage of the situation. But he replies that Yama should be more concerned with himself, especially since he wasn't the one who spent millions on a sword that's worthless. He reminds Yama that in this place, anyone can drop the most valuable item, so it's best to be careful. The guy who's thinking of hiring the protagonist team arrives and realizes the situation is tense. All the strongest guilds seem to be on the brink of a fight, but it's obvious that a limited quest would create such tension. However, the most important thing right now is to kill as many creatures as possible and get the best rewards. Meanwhile, the protagonist team is deep in the forest. Megumin asks why they are ignoring the other players and heading straight for the center of the forest. She questions if they are not going to do the quest. He explains that the given mission is just an introduction. The real objective is to kill the level 15 boss. The Stone Flame King has just appeared in front of them. Like the wizard, it has special abilities. Every time it loses 10% of its health, it punches the ground, making stones fly everywhere. Each time it kills a target, it recovers a significant portion of health and becomes even stronger. At that moment, the boss introduces itself as the King of Stones and Flames, saying insolent humans should not have awakened it from its slumber. The knight is scared, and Megumin says maybe they won't succeed this time. But our protagonist, Calm, says he'll draw the monster away and run as far as possible. From where the monster came, there's a flame crystal in the center. When he sends a message, she should destroy it. He then casts a healing spell on the creature and declares himself the opponent. The monster leaps out of the hole and jumps at him. As he runs, he tells them to complete the mission he gave them. They then see the crystal he mentioned. Destroying it will weaken the monster for half an hour. As he flees, he receives a message from Megumin saying they found the crystal. He tells her to get ready and then runs past with the boss following him. They were about to curse the protagonist for farming there, but they see the boss and alert everyone in the guild. One of them recognizes the protagonist as the priest they are looking for. But since the boss is a priority, they decide to wait until the leader arrives. Observing the situation, the protagonist thinks he has created the perfect scene. All he has to do now is motivate them. He sends a message for Megumin to destroy the crystal. The beast freezes and weakens. Everyone feels confident, imagining that when the leader arrives, it will easily get the first kill. Yama then receives a message saying they found the level 15 creature and need support. He orders everyone to stop what they are doing and head straight for the boss. The surrounding players notice Yama's guild moving. He is sure something is happening and decides to follow to see what it is. Seeing two guilds leaving, the others decide to follow as well. Now everyone is running together. In front of the boss, people wonder how long it will take. Unfortunately, they know they won't be able to hold it for long. A chubby guy says he doesn't know, but many people are coming. The biggest problem is that the boss's health is dropping. Looking back, they say reinforcements are coming, but there are more people than expected. Yama arrives and tells the allied guilds to help kill all the other solo players. Everyone realizes that all the main guilds have sent people to watch. Anyone who tries anything will surely be killed. Yama says he has organized with the other guilds. Just be ready with the skill to deliver the final blow. However, more people from another guild arrive. Everyone recognizes them as the leaders of the region. They suggest sharing the rewards and attacking together. The solo players agree, wanting to participate too. They say Yama's guild can't monopolize it. Yama realizes the guy is trying to cause trouble. His white-haired friend asks what they will do. With no choice, he raises his sword and says they will have to leave a like on this video to help Mamoru make more juicy content for viewers. Part 2 is on the way to activate the cheeky little bell, and I'm out. Do you remember that the last episode ended when Yama told them to attack the golem? With that, everyone started attacking the creature since his plan was to steal it using an ability. The knight and Megumin were impressed by the number of people. However, Megumin immediately understood the plan. He wanted to use the boss to deal with Yama's entire team. A protagonist asks if she still hasn't noticed the boss's ability. She tells him to explain, and he says that the boss had the ability to form life. This means that he will continually grow stronger and recover all his life every time he kills someone. This means that the more players are against him, the greater the maximum strength that monster will have. Megumin then understands that the crystal he ordered to be broken was just to give them a false illusion. And with that, he calculated the exact time for when they would face him. The boss is about to be defeated as his life is down to 30%. And at that moment, he uses an ability. Stones fly everywhere, and the soldiers try to dodge. Yama becomes desperate, telling everyone to flee and wait for that ability to end. But it's too late, and now the monster has already recovered part of its life, and the people realize that he is no longer in that weakened state. Strangely, Yama seems happy, because this way most of the other players will die and his guild alone will get the rewards. Not to mention he brought 300 members, which is 2/3 of everyone there. He then informs the other guilds to join him, as long as they accept that he will take command authority. Since the situation was a bit complicated, people decided to accept. However, they agree that the final blow would go to whoever got lucky. Yama starts organizing everyone, telling the knights to step forward and raise their shields. The monster keeps attacking everyone, but now they are managing to handle it. The guy with white hair is now confident seeing the amount of damage they are causing. Yama continues assigning missions to each member of the group. Whenever someone is about to die, he tells another to defend, and everyone who needs healing he also directs. With them dodging and working together, Yama becomes confident. The boss can no longer recover its life. The knight tells the protagonist that she thinks they will get the first kill. However, our boy reveals that it's useless since they don't stand a chance. Megumin asks if it's because of the high damage from the magma rain. He replies that it's almost because of that. He then says he noticed that the boss is accelerating its attacks even more, and before, those who could avoid punishment now can't escape. He explains that this is also part of the crystal they activated. The weaker the boss gets, the faster he attacks. As soon as his life gets very low, he will evolve from silver rank to gold rank. The two know that at this early stage of the game, it's impossible to kill a gold rank boss. Seeing the guys putting in all their effort, Megumin even feels sorry for them. The poor things have no idea what's about to happen. Yama is watching the health bar, which has already dropped to 10%. Everyone is preparing to try to steal a final blow. The assassin is just walking around, confident he will succeed. The boss reaches 7% life, 2%. However, suddenly it starts glowing gold. Everyone wonders what's happening and if that is a final blow. But when they look closely, the health bar is now full. The boss leveled up and starts using an incineration spell. At this point, touching that magma equals death. However, our protagonist says that now is the perfect time to step in. Megumin asks why he is going if everyone hasn't died yet. He explains that the guys were brave to come here and challenge it, so he needs to teach a lesson. Everything that will happen is their fault. The fight has now turned into chaos, and no one can stay alive. Yama is struggling, and people tell him that the boss, now with full health, is impossible to defeat. They need to flee, and the boss's health was almost empty. However, they will have to retreat. But right at that moment, something explodes. As soon as he opens his eyes, he sees the protagonist and his team coming. He wonders why he is seeing an illusion before dying. Seeing him fallen, the protagonist thinks he is much weaker than he imagined. Megumin asks what they will do, and he says they will have to wait for the creatures to return. As soon as the boss resets, they will attack again. For now, they will just stay there killing the area monsters. And if those guys come close again, he won't hesitate to send everyone to the resurrection point. Up on a branch, two reporters were filming the situation, but Jiang Chen noticed their presence. The reporters talk about how that team got the first kill in the Shadowed Dungeon. They are sure he will do something here as well. However, trying to follow that guy is asking for a free teleport. The trio continues toward where the boss is resting. Megumin tells him that after evolving to gold, the monster gained another ability and would be hard to defeat. The ability makes it so that every time the boss loses 30% of its life, it spreads lava around him. Jiang Chen tells her to just stay back and that he will take care of things. He assures her that it's easier than they think. The two wonder if that isn't difficult, and what would be. Jiang Chen then uses his healing, causing 560 damage. He begins calculating the total damage he can cause using the healings plus the hexagram. He knows it will take at least 20 minutes, but that is impressive, considering it's faster than the entire group from before. However, Megumin warns that this means the boss will soon use the ability, but Jiang Chen easily continues dodging. They wonder how he is dealing with the boss better than the whole group combined. Megumin says it's not hard to know where the attack will land. The difficult part is controlling the characters so well. Indeed, Jiang Chen is a professional. The biggest problem for those guilds was that there were many weak people making the boss regain life. But since he is there alone, the boss cannot recover its life. As soon as it reaches 8%, he uses the magma rain, and Jiang Chen, who is already used to it, activates his illusion. He disappears and easily dodges. With that, the boss uses another skill, and he sends another heal. After a series of attacks, he says it's time to finish this and goes for the monster's head. The reporters couldn't resist their curiosity and got closer to see what he was doing. They couldn't believe it, fearing they might get a free teleport. However, the monster was already defeated, and the message appears congratulating him for being the first to kill the gold rank boss in the region, and this time she really did nothing. With that, the protagonist leveled up to 15, a total of 3 levels at once. A bunch of items starts dropping. One of the first things is a fire heart worth 1,000 of those quest crystals, besides a cloak that seems very good, known as the Demon Eater Cloak. It gives 1,000 mana and a bonus for 10% of your damage recovers your mana. And if you drop to 50% or less life, you get a shield with your mana. Additionally, he received a staff that increases the chance of abilities causing paralyzing damage. There is also a God's Skill Stone that can be used to improve a 3-star skill. Even Jiang Chen was impressed, saying it was a pot of gold. Confident that now, with this mana shield and his dodges, he will probably survive more than a tanker. Even if the paralysis effect only lasts 1 second, he can apply it multiple times. At this point in the game, he is basically invincible. The skill stone is very good, but no one can use it for now. And since that's the case, it's only useful for him. He then upgrades the hexagram ability, increasing the area by 5 meters and the ability's damage by 50%. And after all this mess, it's time to return to the main city. He is curious to see if anyone wants to try out the new items. He knows about the 2 reporter assassins following him, but there's no reason to do anything against them. Finally, they leave, and the female reporter thinks that Priest is very weird. It seemed like he was staring at her all the time, and invisibility didn't even work. They decide it's better to film the monster's body, otherwise no one will believe this news. On the forums, everyone learned that the boss died. However, there is still a secret about who killed it. The protagonist tells the two that he will talk to the Lord and hand in the quest. He tells them to collect new ones so they can keep leveling up. He then enters the Lord's room, who recognizes him, saying he is the adventurer from another world. He asks him to show how many crystals he brought. Immediately, Jiang shows the heart he took from the boss. The NPC is impressed, saying that this is the true value of a warrior from another world. A common reward cannot be given for such a crystal. Jiang Chen says he doesn't want anything too big. He would just like a mysterious class change book for each of his team members. However, the Lord says that this is asking too much. There aren't many of these in this city. Our boy tries to dramatize, asking him to think of his two friends. The Lord tells him to stop the drama. At most, he will receive one mysterious class book, and for them, some growth potions with the blessing of the city of Julu. Our boy gets excited, eyes shining, saying the Lord is very kind. With that, he hands over the bag of items and says he doesn't want to see his face there anymore. Our boy is all happy, saying that the city lord is very kind. The mysterious book allows him to gain a new profession related to his class. The growth water grants 100% more experience. Additionally, the Lord's blessing gives 10% more attributes when you are doing something within that city. He's confident that things will get even better now. He then asks Megumin how things are in the city. They comment that after so many losses, the guilds don't seem to want to stay idle. The knight says she saw online that everyone knows about it, and their leader is furious. They ask what they will do if the guys take any action. Jiang Chen says these guys are going too far, and they will have to teach them a small lesson. However, he warns that since the two of them couldn't withstand all the attacks, they should stay in the mansion, just picking up missions, and he will go meet them. A guy that informs Yama that they found the priest. Yama thinks the boy is very bold to be alone in that city. Apparently, he doesn't understand how serious and powerful their guild is. He thinks it will be wonderful to get revenge on those who stole the first kill. He tells them to gather about 50 members to kill this guy multiple times. Already entering an alley in the city, they ask if the information was really correct. The guy says yes, everyone saw the priest entering there. The guys say it's a dead-end alley, so he must be at the end. As they were entering, Jiang Chen appears, saying he heard they were looking for him. The guys remember that he was also the priest who ran past and threw the magma boss on everyone, and they immediately understand that he did it on purpose to sabotage their mission. Jiang says it's their fault for not being able to defeat the boss. The guys get angry and say he messed with Heavenly, and he will have to pay the price. With that, they use a flame explosion in his direction, saying that today he returns to the beginner village. In front of him are a swordsman, assassin, warrior, archer, mage, and the poor guy alone. However, he says they are eager to die, but that's good since he wants to test the new ability he just evolved. He then uses the hexagram with the evolved crystal. Everyone in the middle takes 1200 damage. The people say it's impossible. How can a priest deal so much damage? Jiang Chen is the one who gets disappointed, realizing he can only test his abilities on strong creatures. However, one of them says he is in trouble because it's a safe zone in the city and the guards will appear soon. Jiang says he doesn't know if he will die, but the guy on the ground definitely will. With that, he finishes him off. Immediately, the entire city guard appears, saying that violence is not allowed and all violators must be punished. However, the system notifies that as he has the Lord's blessing, he can nullify one violation per day. After activating the effect, the knight apologizes, saying he didn't recognize the Great Lord Fangsham. He apologizes for the offense and says he can go. With that, he waves goodbye, thinking it's a shame he can only escape judgment once a day. Now it's time to pursue the mysterious profession, but first he will need some blue human potions and teleport stones. Half an hour later, he has already put all the items up for auction and collected the money he had in stock. The system asks if he wants to start the mysterious mission for a class change. He accepts and receives the explanation. You have started the quest Burning Flames. South of the City of Fire is the ancient site of the Burning Flames. Under the influence of a demonic premonition, a great conspiracy is being created. Complete the mission step by step to end the evil plans. He is impressed that the mission is so specific. He remembers that in his past life, something similar happened in this city, an event where a lot of players died. It was the first time they learned that a game city could be destroyed forever. A revolt spread among other cities, and the players were left with little space to level up. Even city cleanup missions were developed to deal with that. Some were recovered, but the City of Fire, where this mission is located, remained ruined forever. He understands that someone in the past life received this mission but failed to complete it. At the same moment, a message appears to the entire server, saying that the player dancing in the moonlight has broken the seal of the mountains and started a quest that involves the whole server. They will need to resist the invasion of demonic monsters. For the first time, Jiang has no idea what is happening. 10 minutes ago, we see a girl in the burning flames. She stares at a crystal that says it is the pillar that suppresses demonic forces. However, it has weakened over time and would be destroyed with minimal external force. The assassin named Dancing in the Moonlight just touches it and the crystal explodes. This is how the server quest was initiated. To survive, they receive some tips. Any player who completes the mission will receive 50 free attribute points. However, if the mission fails, the person who activated it will lose 50% of everything they have. The second tip is that after the quest is activated, creatures will appear in that region, including a large number of demons, some elite creatures, and even some bosses reaching the gold rank. The girl who activated the mission is scared because it involves the entire server. It is certainly far beyond her control. Not to mention that most of the stronger players are at level 15. Even silver rank bosses are a significant challenge. If gold rank bosses really appear, she won't stand a chance. The worst part is that now she will lose 50% of her attributes. In fact, she hadn't activated it yet. She decided to look at the forum to see the server's situation. That's when she saw the news that 3 people killed a gold rank boss. With that, she felt confident that they had enough power to solve this mission. And then she activated it. The entire server then received the announcement that the demon seal would be partially removed for 12 hours and then completely removed in 24 hours. This means the initial creatures would be somewhat weaker, but over time the monsters would become increasingly stronger. The mission's objective was to eliminate all the creatures before the 9 cauldrons were completely eroded. The mission's reward increases according to the number of creatures you eliminate. If the quest fails, all participants will also lose 20% of their attributes. Megumin asks the protagonist if he will participate. He says definitely and tells the two to accept it. Although it wasn't activated in the past life, it seems very good. It might have something to do with his chance to change professions. He tells them to be at the gate of Julu at 7 in the morning tomorrow. He will place more items in the treasury, buy other things, and then go to sleep. He then wakes up on the sofa thinking that although Gods is a very difficult game, he can't stay there all day. He will need to go out to buy some food because it's getting uncomfortable. But the high-density neighbor is knocking on the door, saying she came to have dinner with him. He wonders how she knows he just got out of the game. She says she was folding clothes and saw that his room light was on. She says she doesn't want to criticize him as she knows he is making a lot of money with the game, but he also needs to keep an eye on his health. She tells him to come eat because the good stuff is downstairs. He asks her if that outfit is appropriate to be in his room. She says that it's normal and asks if he really wants to see something inappropriate. He wonders if that is really available. She says it's a joke and tells him to come down and eat. The next day, in front of the city of Julu, they are preparing for the challenge, and obviously, there are a bunch of guys trying to recruit the two into their teams. He then arrives and they explain the situation. Jiang tells them to leave those guys behind and go. They then use the teleport and arrive in the City of Fire. The knight is impressed with the design of that place. But our impatient boy tells them to head to the burning mountains quickly. They thought there would be a teleport there. However, he explains that the quest point can only be reached by passing through the deadly desert. While crossing the desert, the knight is terrified. Megumin warns that she saw on the forums that it is very difficult to pass through that place. Jiang Chen agrees, saying the bones on the ground are from people who tried to make this crossing. Up ahead, some guys are being attacked by level 15 monsters and getting crushed. He warns that those are the weakest creatures there. They are called deadly worms, and the problem is that they stay extremely hidden. You have to be very careful where you step. Jiang thinks that just the fact that this mission is in the desert already means most of the server won't be able to participate. In the meeting where the event is happening, people are dying of heat. Even those 2 reporters from before are there to capture everything. The assassin who activated the mission is also there, thinking that several groups of players have arrived. However, she still hasn't seen the group that killed the gold-ranked boss. At this moment, our team appears. Jiang is impressed, as it's the first time he sees this city before it is destroyed. The knight says that place looks more like an abandoned area. However, he already feels someone watching him and tells them to come out. The boosted assassin appears, saying that he must be talented to see her while she's invisible, and quickly realizes that they are the team that got the first kill. He then asks why she is following them. Stating the nickname, he now knows it was she who activated the mission. She responds that she is looking for cooperation. She says she has information that wasn't mentioned to anyone else and can share it with them. Jiang Chen asks what she wants. She says she has 2 conditions. She needs to be on their team, and the second is that they all follow her orders. Obviously, Jiang Chen would never agree to something like that. The 2 in the team are even impressed by this crazy woman's confidence. She puts her hand on her chest, saying she swears not to cause harm to anyone. Her plan is to make this mission smooth. Following her commands is the best chance they have to win. However, Jiang Chen says she must be thinking something wrong about them. Even without any information, they can finish this. And if that's her offer, he says goodbye, saying they are leaving. She thinks he is an arrogant bastard. However, this is the team that completed the first mission, so he is her only hope. She tells him to wait and asks to join the team. He says he accepts, but she will have to follow his commands. Megumin says she better accept because everyone there trusts Jiang. With that, Midnight Dance joins the group. He then asks what information she has. She says she will first explain about the suppression crystals against demons. There will be a total of 13 crystals on the pillars throughout the Burning Mountain. Among them, 9 will be bronze, 3 are silver, and 1 is gold. Every hour, a demon will be released from each of the pillars in order of strength, and the first one will open in half an hour, so they need to hurry and go now. However, the knight says she doesn't understand. The team leader is Jiang. The assassin says she's just worried that if they arrive too late, the quest will fail for everyone. She warns that the demonic energy released from an open crystal doesn't only affect monsters and demons, but also dominates the land and contaminates the soil. People contaminated upon death lose 10% of their attributes, and if it's gold contamination, they lose up to 40%. That's why it's not good to let areas be contaminated and to have a specific place to kill all the monsters. Jiang, tired of all this talking, asks if she is done yet. She continues saying that there is an item called the Demon Fragment Seal, which can temporarily suppress all the pillars' energy. These fragments are scattered throughout the mountain, so it takes a while to find them. He asks if she knows the positions of the 13 pillars. She says yes as she obtained a map. Jiang then leaves, saying he needs to take care of something in a nearby village. The assassin gets angry, saying she gave a lot of important information, and he just leaves like that. This way, they will fail the mission that involves the entire server. But with Jiang, he's asking the Elder if he knows a guy named Yi Jing. The Elder says that this man was in the Burning Flame Mountain. He then asks where this man's old house is, and the old man responds that it's on the mountain at the village's edge. He then thanks him and tells the two girls to wait for him there. The assassin is furious, wondering why he's wasting time there. The knight says she wanted to join them, so it's best not to complain too much. Megumin says that if she's not happy, she can leave. She says she understands, but is confused about why those two obey that priest so much. Considering the classes, they must have been the ones who killed those monsters. He thinks that if the quest hint was that these guys would be in that mountain, he probably must be hiding somewhere and not trapped in the dungeon. If that's the case, he knows he must be in the guy's house. He arrives in front of the wardrobe and tells him to come out because he knows he is there. The guy asks if he is an adventurer, and he says yes, and that he is there to help him. The guy says he believes him and asks him to deliver a letter. He says he was falsely accused. They accuse him of abusing a woman, but he didn't do it. Jack receives the notification that he continued the quest and thanks him. The system says he has to find a lady named Lizen, a servant of the sacred god, who was in the mountain city of Burning Flame. He then returns to the girls and tells them they are going to that city. The assassin is already getting tired and asks what he is planning. After all, the server mission is about to start, so where is he going? He says the first pillars are bronze rank, so they don't even need to be there. At the moment, he has more important things to do. She says she won't let him leave because she shared the information. Jiang doesn't like that. He then grabs her hand and dominates her. The impact was so intense that it even sparked. Embarrassed, she asks him to let her go. Jiang says it was unintentional, but that rascal is thinking it wasn't bad at all. That spark. She is blushing but arguing with him, saying he has been stalling for too long. He says he just demonstrated his power to her, asking if she didn't feel it. She says she wants him to prove his power in a real fight, not just a USB-connected one. He replies that he doesn't have that much free time to waste fighting for no reason. He says that if she doesn't trust him, she can leave the team and find other people. In the end, he will help anyway. With that, he calls the others from the team and tells them to go quickly. However, he notices those two reporters are close by. He then approaches them and asks if they haven't seen enough and warns them that all this filming is becoming harassment. They greet him awkwardly, wondering how they were spotted. The girl explains that they are employees working for the game company and are only there to record heroic acts. The guy next to her is impressed at how well his friend lies. Jiang then says he remembered them from the northern lands and mentions that they already took a lot of material from him. If they benefited so much from him, they wouldn't mind making an announcement for him. He tells them to inform the entire server that in the mansion's basement in the city of Julu, there is a shop selling Euro rank equipment. The two reporters feel hesitant and awkward, but a minute later, the announcement is made. He then says he's heading to the sacred city and asks Lu what she wants to do. Jiang no longer considers having her on the team a good thing because it seems it will be difficult to improve their favorability. At that moment, she announces that one of the pillars has already started to be destroyed and is being corroded by demonic energy. Jiang Sheng thinks that with 10,000 players participating in this mission, it's impossible that they are already losing like this. He then asks where this suppression pillar is. She informs him that it is to the east of the mountain, about 10 minutes from their current location. He says it seems very close and asks how the people aren't dealing with bronze monsters. She explains that only those who activated the mission can receive this information. Jiang realizes that many of the players must be busy killing creatures and didn't notice that these smaller groups already reached the crystal. He then says it's a good idea for her to go there. Many of the players must be busy killing creatures and didn't notice that these smaller groups already reached the crystal. He then says it's a good idea for her to go there. He sends a friend request, and with that, she leaves the team. Before leaving, she says she will be waiting for him in the burning flame and that he should message her through the friend channel. Jiang, the psychopath, thinks that when she plays so seriously, she becomes quite tempting. However, the knight is angry, saying not to try to seduce her Fangsam. 10 minutes later, they finally arrive at the sacred city, and there are many guards at the front. The knight is once again impressed with the architecture, while the protagonist, on the other hand, is impressed with the place's defenses. He realizes that invading it would be impossible. The guards block their entry, saying that without authorization, no one can enter that residence. He says he's there to meet Miss Lizanne and even has a letter. The guard says that if that's the case, he will inform the lady to confirm. Jiang already realizes that the girl's position is not low in this city. A few minutes later, the guard returns, saying he can enter. Jiang goes ahead, but the two from the team are stopped. Inside, he notices it is full of guards, and there would be no way to invade without the letter. As he approaches her sight, she asks if he is the one who brought the letter. He hands it over, and she asks if he knows where the person who sent it is. Angrily, she says that only one person could have sent it, and it seems he was lucky to escape the guards. Jiang Chen finds her reaction strange, wondering if she dislikes the guy. She then looks at him and asks if he likes He Jing. He says no and that he's just an adventurer who accepted a mission. Since he already sensed that this woman's intentions aren't good, Lizanne responds that this is very convenient and asks him to kill He Jing. At that moment, he receives a sudden commission mission from Lizanne to eliminate the traitor He Jing. However, it's a special mission that conflicts with its class change. If He Jing dies, the class change will fail. She smiles slightly and asks the protagonist what his answer is. Hearing this, he thinks that beautiful women really are heartless. But since he is in the middle of the castle and it would be dangerous to refuse, he says he will help the lady. But obviously, he doesn't plan to complete this mission. She then says she will give him the quest and hopes it won't be too much trouble. As soon as he completes the mission of delivering the envelope, he unlocks a follow-up quest, which is to inform He Jing about everything she told him. He feels relieved for not having mentioned anything about the guy. He says that this mission seems related to the other one that involves the entire server. Walking through the castle, he sees an extremely withered sunflower for inexplicable reasons. It seems to be related to his quest. With years of experience playing RPGs, he knows that this is part of some mission. He then pulls it from the soil and keeps it. Afterward, he returns to the guide, who asks if he delivered the message to Miss Lizanne. He says he did, and she asked him to kill him. The guy responds that it's impossible because Lizanne is his savior, and they promise to be together forever. Our protagonist thinks that he has met someone quite different. He then tells the story. A month ago, he confessed to Lizanne, and she made arrangements for him to enter the sacred palace. But yesterday, out of nowhere, a woman appeared in his bed. Immediately after, the guards entered his room accusing him of violating that woman. They said it was a sin, and that he would be taken for trial. He said he asked for a message to be sent to Lizanne for help. However, she ordered him to be killed. Confused, our protagonist is trying to piece things together. He remembers that in the past life, the fall of the City of Flames was due to the Sacred Lord's temptation by a demonic spirit, and Lizanne is one of the servants of the Sacred Lord. Considering what the guy said, her personality changed suddenly. He then asks what the guy did during his time in the Sacred Palace. The guy says that when he was there, the only strange thing he saw was an extremely withered flower. Immediately, our protagonist hands him the flower, and he is impressed, saying he imagined it would be useful for something when he saw it passing by. The guy then continues explaining the quest, saying that some soils can cultivate scorching generations that carry a special aura, but this one has something strange. The way to discover it now is to place this scorching sunflower in a reverse balance. It needs to be taken to extreme cold to know what the strange aura is. He then begs Jiang Chen to take him to the Snowy Forest Mountain. Strangely, the Snowy Forest is on the Scorching Mountain. The system notifies that this is part of the mission and he accepts immediately. Already on the Scorching Mountain, he asks if this is the so-called Snowy Forest. After all, there are no trees or snow, explaining that in the past, this mountain didn't have that. But 15 years ago, a guy named Yang Shengfeng was one of the heirs of the City of Fire and went to the mountain to train. There he fell in love with a girl. However, their happiness didn't last long because the old city owner got sick, and Yang Sheng had to return to the City of Flames. The girl was then left alone on the mountain, but before Shengfeng left, he fulfilled the girl's last wish and created this illusion so she could live in the snow once in her life. The protagonist listens to the whole story but is more interested in where his experience is. However, the girls are impressed, saying it's a wonderful and romantic tale. The protagonist remembers that this guy was a two-element mage. He had no idea he had learned ice to create a snowy forest for a girl. The guy finishes the story saying that after many attempts, the girl became the leader of the sacred burning mountain. And to this day, that illusory formation is maintained there. The two girls are sad about the end of the story, but he remembers that in the past life, the destruction of the City of Fire was thanks to the Sacred Lord. So this girl seems quite dangerous. He asks if the story is over and if they can purify the soil. The guy then says yes, but the purification process takes 4 or 5 hours. It would be good if they waited there. However, the girls say they don't have much time. After all, he is receiving messages that the event is ongoing. People are having difficulties and the 4th suppressor pillar is about to open. Considering that no one there can handle gold monsters, as soon as the first one is activated, the mission will fail. He then tells the guy that unfortunately, he will have to stay there doing the purification alone. He will take care of other things and return at any moment. The guy says he understands and hopes he comes back, leaving a like on the video to help Mamoru make more juicy content for his viewers, activate the cheeky little bell, and I'm out. The protagonist then says goodbye to the guy and mentions he has to go perform a purification on the soil. The man replies that it's fine and tells him to take care of his business while he stays and waits. With that, Jiang calls the girls to head to the mountains to kill the creatures. Meanwhile, at the sacred palace, a knight arrives and informs Allison that the esteemed adventurer she spoke with has spent a long time in the garden. She acknowledges this and tells him to leave, now fuming with anger at the adventurer. She declares she will have to meet him personally and activates her powers to fly off. On the mountain, the group is struggling against the wolves. All the teams are having a hard time until they notice the team that got the first kill approaching. Everyone thought they would give up on the server mission. The knight remarks that the people from the Magma Mountain are also there, probably to redeem themselves. However, as soon as they see Jiang's route easily defeating the creatures, everyone's morale drops. The system announces that they are now part of the Blazing Flames server event. To obtain rewards, they would need points. In team mode, when someone kills a monster, they get 80% of the points, and the remaining 20% are distributed among the rest of the group. Currently, they have 0 points and 0 public points. The knight asks what they will do now. Apparently, he sent a message to the moon asking where she was. Then he tells the knight that they will first find the moon and then head towards the suppression pillar. The moon responds that she is at the east pillar dealing with some elite creatures and the bosses will appear in that region. As soon as they arrive, the moon is impressed, saying she thought they would take much longer and only appear when the last crystal was opened. She then says that now that they are here, they can start killing the monsters. The pillars open very quickly, and the players didn't have time to adapt. The situation got out of control and the system is warning them. The 5th demon suppression pillar is about to open. A large number of pillar residues have been destroyed. The 6th pillar is also about to open. Jiang is startled that 2 will open at once. With things happening simultaneously, it will be hard to handle, and the background characters are afraid of dying, wondering if no one will help them. They are pleading for someone to save them since their shields are on cooldown. Lu then turns to Jiang and tells him to stay in the backline since he is a skinny priest who can't take a hit. Jiang, feeling insulted, tells her it's not necessary. He casts a heal easily hitting 1,000, but the creatures have more than 5,000 health. He is impressed by how tough the monsters are, then tells the knight to gather a bunch so he can kill them all at once. The moon says he is acting impulsively, but he holds her little arm and tells her not to worry. The knight then starts using various abilities to attract the creatures. With all the monsters following her, the protagonist uses the pentagram in the region, hitting 2,400 on each monster. Now the moon is in disbelief, wondering if he really is a healer. No one understands how he can do such a thing. He then tells the knight they will wait for the abilities to recover. Sometime later, she gathers the monsters and uses another ability. The moon still can't believe it, wondering if he is really human. Meanwhile, Megumin from the deep web says the pro player is indeed the strongest. She will have to work hard to get close to that power. However, Jiang thinks this method of killing monsters is still too slow and decides they will block the suppression pillar. Lu explains that the pillars will release 3 waves of regular monsters and 1 wave of elite monsters, so that was probably the regular wave of the 5th pillar. Regular monsters are worth 10 points but don't drop any items. In this event, only bosses drop items. She is explaining all this, but it's obvious Jiang doesn't care as he already knows these things. This reincarnated guy is quite arrogant. However, with so much healing power, he can afford to be. At least the event experience is generous, and he is now at level 16. Even his friends reached level 15. Jiang is happy since the stronger they are, the more they can help. However, the moon is still worried, telling them not to get excited as they are about to enter the suppression area. There is black magic there that will curse them. Once cursed, they suffer negative effects and all recovery becomes ineffective. Additionally, upon death, their attributes are reduced by 20%. Jiang is cursed but doesn't seem to care much. Lu finds it strange since this would make any player desperate, yet he remains calm. She suggests once again that he should stay back, killing monsters from a distance. However, he is interested in going inside as waiting for the creatures will take too long. The key is to do things as quickly as possible. The moon warns that if he dies, he will suffer an epic debuff, losing 20% of his stats permanently. Nonetheless, Jiang ignores this and the 2 follow him. He knows those creatures can't kill him. Meanwhile, in the Snow Forest, Jin is still waiting for the soil purification until Listen arrives behind him. He senses the mana fluctuations changing and wonders if the adventurers have arrived. Turning around, he sees the girl and feels happy. However, before he can say anything, he gets trapped in chains. He asks what happened to her and says they can resolve it together, but she silences him. Meanwhile, inside a demon suppression crystal, a girl is saying that the wolf boss of the 5th floor is there and questioning if they are really going to attack it. The protagonist tells the knight and the moon to go ahead, but then a system message arrives. Sudden mission. Lizen has captured the flower. Recover it, or the mysterious mission will fail. At the same time, another window says that an energy suppressing the monsters has been suppressed, and a gold pillar will appear in 15 minutes. Jiang doesn't know what to do. The moon sees his face and thinks he's reacting to the server notification. The system then gives another warning. Due to a mysterious power, all pillars will be deactivated and will recover in an hour. Jiang warns that they need to urgently leave and head to this gold pillar. He is certain that the two missions activated simultaneously must be connected somehow. Meanwhile, in front of the gold pillar, there are several giant chains sealing the entrance. All the other guilds are there, and someone tells Yama, leader, it looks like the gold pillar is about to open. Everyone is preparing because they know this battle won't be easy. The gates have closed, so players from all over the mountain are heading to that region. They know that the first kill team will soon arrive. Someone asks Yama if they could take advantage of the chaos and attack. But Yama seems to be getting scared and says that healer is very mysterious, so it's better to check the situation first and see what we do. Everyone else there thinks the same since a gold gate won't be easy. The moon tells the protagonist she knows he is strong, but the creatures there are of gold, so he shouldn't do anything crazy. He tells her to relax and that he'll be calm now. However, she is certain he will cause some trouble. The pillar then breaks, the chains fall, and guess who comes out? Lizen appears, entering. Seeing this, Jiang thinks it's the perfect chance to solve two problems with one stroke. He bids farewell, saying he wants to go to the other side. The moon says he promised not to do anything foolish. He responds that the situation has now become special and dives into the chaos. The knight and Megumin say they will follow him. They say goodbye to the moon, saying they'll see her later as they're going ahead. The moon realizes she has no choice but to join them. The rest of the guilds around wonder if it was the first kill team that entered. It seems they are really crazy. Yama starts to think they made a wrong judgment and entered without knowing how dangerous it is. But now that they've chosen this path, they can't blame him for being ruthless. The plan is to use the demon seal they found earlier to end their chances. The item makes a gold pillar completely sealed for 5 minutes, so the people inside can't get out and vice versa. All the other guild members are happy about this, saying it seems we're not the only ones who wanted to teach these guys a lesson, and it's a great gift for them. The guild of the guy who wasn't bad to the protagonist still doesn't know what they will do. They realize that all the other guilds are determined to finish them off. There's not much they can do, but it's not worth kicking a dead dog. It's a shame that the priest got trapped inside a gold pillar because he's probably done for. Inside the pillar, the debuff is even worse. You have been cursed with a golden malignant aura. For 1 hour, all recovery effects are reduced by 99% and 40% of your attributes are lost upon death. Even the protagonist realizes that this won't be easy. All the girls came along and asked why the moon followed too. She says she had no choice but to follow them. But now everyone is in this deadly pillar. So what are they going to do? Jiang tells them to stay very close to him, thinking that having 3 girls fighting by his side isn't so bad. Lai Zhang appears, chanting spells and putting the creatures in a berserk state. The protagonist notices the monsters are going crazy. Despite the chaos, Jiang isn't too concerned about what the girls are doing. The system alerts that a player used the fragment of Siller demons, sealing the golden gate for 5 minutes. However, more fragments are used immediately after, totaling a 45-minute lockdown. Jiang realizes someone wants them dead, but he doesn't care much, believing they just need to fight and find a way out. He instructs the 3 girls to follow his commands. They prepare as Lizen summons a dragon, and the horde of monsters rushes at them. Jiang tells Megumin to stay back and summon her creatures to distract the elite monsters, even if it means sacrificing them. He asks the knight to attract all creatures while prioritizing her safety since he can't heal inside. He tells the moon to stay hidden, observing, and only attack if someone breaks through their defenses. She agrees, determined to do her best. The fight begins. Creatures are everywhere, and Jiang instructs the knight to handle those at their back and sides while he focuses on the ones in front. She slices a wolf with her sword, impressing the moon. She thought the girls were weak and useless. The moon asks why she pretends to be weak, and the knight replies that it ensures Jiang continues helping her, as she enjoys playing the innocent princess role. Obviously, Jiang is well aware of this. The battle continues with Jiang activating his orb and staff, dealing 2,245 damage to all creatures. The protagonist watches her, finding the combat fascinating. He praises her, making her blush and realize she forgot to act cute and delicate. She says she'll fetch more creatures in return. Jiang notices that using his area ability twice kills the monsters, but the elites are the real problem. Megumin reports her creatures can't hold out much longer. They're being beaten in the dogfight. Jiang tells her to hold on a bit more. His ability will be ready in 30 seconds. At that moment, a wolf leaps at him, but the moon saves him just in time. She asks if he can handle the elite creatures with their much higher health. He says he'll find out when they get there, making her hesitate and feel unwell. He grabs her by the waist, forgetting they're in a dungeon. She feels embarrassed, asking if he's taking advantage of her. He tells her to relax because there's still a lot to come. He uses Flash to transport them to Megumin's side and asks if she liked the effective move. She blushes, thinking he's more impressive than she thought. He tells them to drink a potion to recover mana and return to the fight. The wolf takes a 1040 heal and dies instantly. He activates the healing area again, and the creatures enter, resolving the situation. The protagonist thinks all this difficulty is worth it since they're gaining a lot of experience. They just need to maintain this pace and not die. They feel motivated while outside everyone is confused, sure that everyone inside must be dead. The people next to them ask if they won't hold out until the time is up and if they haven't managed to pass. The leader says no. That cursed debuff is basically a death sentence. They will surely die. However, inside 15 minutes have passed and they have almost 50,000 points. They are going to come out with a lot of points. They have finally managed to kill the small monsters. Now there's only a level 19 winged demonic dragon left, a gold rank boss. It seems to have 100 health bars, so it won't be easy. When its health drops by 10%, it will unleash a fire attack that deals 200 damage to the target and corrodes 10% of the item durability for 5 seconds. Every time it loses 20% of its health, it will flap its wings and reduce everyone's movement speed. Not to mention its dragon blood causes it to regenerate 1,000 health per second. The protagonist notices that Lizanne's soul has disappeared, but the item needed for the mission is still there. He has no choice but to defeat this boss. He warns that it's difficult to dodge its attacks, so they should stay back and avoid drawing attention. He will handle it. He starts teleporting and using healing spells. The problem is that he's dealing 1,000, 2,000 damage, but the monster recovers 1,000 per second. The dragon spews its fire attack, and they get worried, saying it will be very difficult and he must be careful with his positioning. He takes a hit but can now exchange some of his mana for health. The moon is increasingly impressed, wondering what kind of game monster Jiang is. He uses a pentagram to attack, realizing he will have to kill it gradually. He knows there are people waiting for him outside. Things will get intense once he finishes this. The monster keeps attacking and roaring. As good as Jiang is, he can't dodge everything. Fortunately, he can't use healing items but can defend himself with mana. He keeps attacking and 20 minutes pass. He knows the seal is about to end, and with it, the boss must die too. With that, he takes a final healing orb and kills it. You killed the gold-ranked demon-winged dragon boss. First kill achieved with 85,000 points and 21,000 public points. You've leveled up to 19 and gained 8 attributes. The protagonist is very happy. He has 50,000 more points than the mission requires and has gained 2 levels. For now, you will continue adding points only to intelligence since he can still kill everything that has the mana shield defense. The girls are all happy that he reached level 18. He plans to keep adding points to intelligence for effective attacks and mana shield defense. However, the moon is sad. She realizes she couldn't help at all in this place. She says she'd rather play alone than steal experience and leaves the team, feeling down because she can't handle being carried. Jiang realizes the girl is quite stubborn but decides to leave her for now, as there are things to resolve outside. But not before grabbing the loot from the monster, a platinum-rank contaminated dragon staff, which requires purification before use with unknown properties, a contaminated helmet, and a sealed 3-star skill book. The quest item is purified, and it's time to complete the mission. Now it's time to settle the scores. Outside, people are confused, wondering where the monsters are. Yama says they'll wait 2 more minutes, and if nothing happens, they'll send someone inside. At that moment, they see someone coming out. It's the moon calmly. They knew she was the one who activated the mission and entered with Jiang. Seeing her alive, they wonder if there were no more monsters and question her why she could leave before the first kill team that entered before her. She asks why she should answer. Yama says she better respond since she's marked with the curse and probably doesn't want to die. Another member says they don't want to cause any harm but just want to know about the situation with the first kill team. The moon finds it ridiculous that these extras think they can cause trouble for the protagonist and tells them if they have the courage, they should go and see for themselves. With that, she activates her invisibility ability to leave, saying there's nothing to discuss. One guy tries to hit her with an ice ability, but she's already gone, reappearing behind him and knocking him down. Yama asks if she's declaring war on his guild and warns that this is her last chance to say anything before facing the consequences. She replies that she doesn't care and invites him to try anything. At that moment, Jiang appears, asking why they are mistreating the girl from his team. The guys are shocked because they know he's the healer who went in first. They are curious, wondering how he is still alive. All the guilds use their seals, so he should have died. The moon thinks this is going to be interesting and Jiang realizes everyone is shocked he's alive. He asks the moon why she didn't tell everyone he was inside waiting. She almost risked her life. They still need to finish the server mission, and there are many people around. He tells her to get inside because he has to deal with the situation. She asks if he will handle everything, and he tells her not to worry. She smiles, telling him not to die or she'd have to avenge him, looking all cute and blushing. She tells the maid she was lucky and will be waiting inside for the good news. The guys tell Jiang they didn't expect him to come out alive and ask where the rest of his team is. He says they are inside and asks if they want to check. Yama proposes that there's no reason for him to go inside and suggests that if he sends out the knight and the summoner, they'll let him escape since he's just a useless healer. However, Jiang says it wouldn't be right to send his team to their deaths and offers to consider it if Yama does something. Yama asks what and Jiang says if Yama kneels and calls him daddy, we'll think about it. Furious, Yama asks if he really thinks he'll survive and if he's looking for trouble. Jiang keeps provoking, saying they used so many fragments but it was useless. He offers a challenge where he'll fight anyone, one at a time. The guys call him arrogant and send everyone to attack him at once. Jiang is caught off guard, having asked for one at a time, and suddenly 200 spells of ice, fire, earth, and plant come at him. Through the smoke, they wonder if he's dead. Some say no because no one received a kill notification. But there he is, with his health locked at 50%, thanks to his mana shield being the only thing damaged. Now it's his turn. After being attacked, he activates the pentagram of death healing, dealing 1300 damage to everyone. The massive damage knocks everyone back. Yama thinks this is cheating, questioning how a healer is doing this. Jiang heals himself and tells Yama to stay quiet. Poor Yama even drops the sword he paid millions for. Jiang invites the other guilds to attack too. Dynasty attacks, but their leader apologizes, saying they have no problem with him. Jiang remembers from his past life how this guy leaked information and caused trouble, so he sees no reason to spare him. He tells the guy he won't forgive him as they use the seal on him. The guy tries to lie, saying he misunderstood and used the seal to help with the server quest, not to kill them, suggesting they pretend it never happened. Jiang says he's stalling because he's going to die anyway. The guys call Jiang arrogant, saying Dynasty isn't a guild to offend like this, and sends all members of Squad 3 to attack his team. Jiang says he can't let that happen. He notices the guy is smart, sending other members to attack so he won't lose his items. Jiang easily dodges some attacks and defends against others. People find it bizarre that the priest has so many abilities. To further provoke, Jiang asks if Dynasty Guild is only capable of this much. The leader loses his cool and orders all close-range fighters to attack him as well. A fragile guy like Jiang shouldn't be able to withstand so many people. The knights charge, but Jiang is no fool. He knows it won't be worth it for him, so he teleports behind the leader. He strikes, and the guy tries to flee, but it's too late. The healing has already been used, and all that's left are swords. Everyone is in disbelief, wondering if this is the difference between a top player and the rest. The protagonist thinks to himself that this was very, very good. It will help evolve his magic sphere. The leader of another guild approaches, introducing himself and saying the seal issue was a misunderstanding. They had no choice but to obey Yama. So could they reconcile? Jiang agrees, but only if they deliver 30 complete sets of bronze items and provide a list of all the guilds that use the seal. The leader immediately sends a trade offer, including messages from each participating guild. The list is extensive, and Jiang is impressed by how many people want him dead. Jiang turns to the leader of the Supreme Alliance, asking why he's in such a hurry to leave. The guy asks what he can do for the protagonist. Jiang says he doesn't know what he did to offend them, but they also use the seal. The leader tries to laugh it off, saying they're just a guild of mischievous kids. Jiang tells him to stop lying and hand over 200 sets of bronze. Frightened, the leader says that's too much. Jiang says if that's the case, he will have to be cruel. The leader says to wait and offers to pay 100 instead of 200. Jiang says he changes his mind quickly, but it's a good offer and he will accept. However, as the guy approaches, he activates a skill called Soul Thorns and attacks Jiang. Everyone is confused, thinking he killed the protagonist, but someone notices he hasn't respawned and instead turned into fragments. Jiang reappears, asking how he's doing. He used the illusion boots effect, which negates damage with a 3-minute cooldown. Everyone is confused, but Jiang doesn't hesitate, healing himself and killing the leader, who drops a mana recovery ring. Jiang says they are very kind and equips the ring to help with the server mission. The items from other guilds will also boost his power. It was indeed a bountiful harvest. However, he needs to be more careful since everyone now knows he's strong. This time, they underestimated him because they had no idea of his power. Suddenly, the system announces, due to the restoration of seal power, the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th pillars will open. 5 crystals will open at once. Seeing the chaos, Jiang decides to let the other guilds flee. Rafa number 1 appears, praising him for killing so many players and being so impressive. Megumin says she wants to be like him when she grows up. Jiang then goes to the moon and asks if she really wants to leave the team. If not, she could at least show the way. At the spawn area, the prince also appears and Yama realizes he died too. The prince mocks Yama, saying at least he didn't lose good items like a certain idiot. The unimportant side characters continue arguing, one mocking the other. Someone teases Yama for spending so much on an item only to lose it. Yama replies that they aren't here because he's leveling up and will get better things. Someone mentions a shop selling good items at the Julu exchange pit. Angry, they decide to head there. Yama says he won't let them get those defensive gold items. In the city, a girl, a friend and neighbor of Jiang, recognizes Julu as the city he mentioned to her. She goes to the shop he bought from, where she is one of the managers. That's where the gold armor and other weapons they want are being sold. She says it's perfect that he got everything ready, but first, she needs to know that she's there. Meanwhile, he sees that the player Ru has sent a friend request. At the suppression pillars, they're facing a level 15 bronze-ranked boss. It has the usual 30% health abilities, but what's the point of mentioning that if he's already dealt 3580 damage? The creature attacks, but he teleports, casts a heal, and the monster dies. The girls are even having a picnic, and one of them comments that she hopes to have a life like this in the real world after graduating, finding an incredible and professional guy while she does nothing. Jiang continues collecting items, which, as they're not very good, he will use for the orb. At that moment, he sees Ru's friend request. She thanks him for finally accepting the request and informs him that she's arrived in Joel's city, but that there are 2 destroyers they're looking lost. They seem eager to buy the gold items he's selling and ask how much he wants for them. Shang realizes there are many rich players on this server and tells her to let them make an offer, but not to sell for less than 10,000 each. She turns to the guys and says the starting bid is 10,000, but the highest offer wins. They start competing as there are only 5 gold items on the server. One offers 20,000, another 25,000, and Yama offers 26,000 for both items. Someone says increasing by 1,000 makes no sense, but they from the Imperial Court will not allow such a rare item to be sold to enemies, so he bids 28,000. Yama says he'll raise it to 30,000. Rue is impressed, wondering why these guys are spending so much on a game item. Should she just quit her job? Not even her fashion college would pay that much. She messages Jiang, informing him that the items are being sold for nearly 30,000 and expresses her desire to join him in the future. The protagonist says it's fine and tells her she gets 1% of the sales profits. Now, with her in the shop, he can finally put all the gold items there. Meanwhile, chaos continues at the 9th pillar. He knows that with so many openings simultaneously, the pressure on players has increased significantly. Then the system sends another message. Due to the restored power of seal breaking, the 10th, 11th, and 12th pillars will open. Players, be aware that the 9 demon suppression cauldrons are currently under attack by black magic. The moon says if that's the case, they can't keep waiting there and asks the protagonist what they should do. If that cauldron breaks, the entire server will fail. He says it's also dangerous to leave 3 silver bosses attacking simultaneously, so they should go protect the cauldrons while he kills the bosses. He tells Amiibo Min that from now on, she will take charge on the battlefield. He is confident that since she was a good player in the past, she won't disappoint him. Excited, she says he can trust her and she will definitely meet his expectations. However, at the 9 cauldrons, they are scared and don't know what to do. Potions are running out and everyone is lost because the number of creatures keeps increasing. One guy is barely saved and thanks them, but they are still unsure about the fight until the girls arrive. They're without the protagonist, but they've been leveling up with him all this time, so compared to the rest of the server, they're still quite strong. Megumi starts assigning roles to each person. As a member of the first kill team, people begin to obey her, impressed by how well she controls the battlefield. They even consider inviting her to their guild, thinking someone like her is always good to have in a battle. The only problem is that in this situation, the most important thing is power, and they don't have enough of it. Meanwhile, the protagonist faces a cursed 3-tailed fox. It's a magical type monster, so it's dangerous to let it get close to people. Without hesitation, he starts attacking the monster with heal. He knows he can keep teleporting to reposition and avoid losing health. However, the quickest way right now is to keep casting heal without stopping. He doesn't even move. He just keeps maintaining the heals and damage fields. 10 minutes later, he has already soloed the boss and received some more gold items for his collection. Now, only one more suppression pillar needs to be dealt with. A group of 4 extras arrives there. They comment on being sad for not having killed many other bosses. However, now since all the other players are distracted with the cauldron, they are sure they can get this one. Someone runs past them, and they wonder who it was. But the egg-headed girl says to ignore it because they need to focus on this boss. Meanwhile, at the 9 cauldrons, things are getting complicated. The moon tells the girls that the defenses are breaking and asks for a solution, but Megumin says they are already doing their best and using all the available people. The only way to change things would be if Shang appeared. The best they can do is buy time for that to happen. With 5 times more monsters than players, only area abilities will have an effect. Asks if this Fang game is really that strong to guarantee victory. Megumin says yes, if he were here, they would definitely win. The extras think that if that's the case, they will use all the items they have stored to survive and gather as many points as possible. The battle continues with Megumin summoning her dogs. The problem is that the wolves are already reaching the cauldrons, but no panic because the protagonist arrives mounted on a dragon, dealing 3,500 damage to all the monsters. Some get angry, saying he's doing this just to show off, but at least he will save the server mission, so the guild's efforts won't be in vain. Our boy thanks everyone for their efforts and says they can relax now because he will carry everyone. Now, everyone is excited for the fight, and half an hour later, the creatures are finally defeated. However, obviously, everyone is exhausted. It took 12 hours just for this server mission. Everyone is celebrating and happy, but the protagonist warns that it's not over yet. The moon asks what he means by that, and he says the last crystal boss hasn't been killed yet. He explains that he came running because of Megumin's message, but he hasn't gone to the last boss yet. The moon says it's strange because the monster should have come there. They decide to go take a look. At the 12th pillar, the level 15 8-headed snake has 7 heads missing. The monster has 2 poison abilities. One deals 200 damage per second within the mist, and the other removes 1% of maximum health per second. The coordinate from Ko Gilvantis already realizes it will be very difficult, and the archer warns that he can't hit through the mist. They realize it's not that easy to kill these bosses. They saw someone killing very quickly, so they came here. But the egg-headed girl says they have to try now. They use speed elixirs to come up with a plan and go for it. The protagonist is watching all this thinking that someone started things earlier, but the group is struggling so much that even their healer can't keep up. They can't see or hit the monster. With a monster healing, they are essentially dealing no damage. And the worst part is the shield is about to break. They decide to flee since they're wasting items for nothing. The quartet retreats. The knight says the group left, so it's their chance, and Jiang agrees. Seeing their team approaching, the extras wonder if they will let them steal it like that. The leader says the composition of the guys is similar, so they won't succeed either, but he decides to ask them. As the guy approaches, the protagonist recognizes the nickname. These four were at the top of his leaderboard in his previous life. It's amazing to see that this team has been together since the beginning of the game. Jiang asks what they want, and the guy questions if he's also there to face the boss. But he already finds it strange that the old server legend is being so friendly. The guy says it's nothing, but it would be good if they fought together and shared the loot since the boss is very difficult. However, Jiang says it's not necessary. He says that since they're not going to fight, they should stay back and not interfere. The group is startled, and the egghead girl asks why he's so stressed. Her brother asks politely. There was no need for such a response. However, the knight interrupts, saying that they couldn't handle the boss, and now they come with this kind of offer. They start to argue, and the protagonist warns that if they don't leave, he'll have to send everyone to the respawn point. The leader of the group says it's fine. They'll stop insisting, but he didn't need to be so harsh with his words. Maybe this was a good chance to cooperate. Young disagrees, saying that it's not going to happen since he'll fight the boss and they won't do anything. He warns the girls not to let them steal, and then heads towards the monster. He understands that with their combination, they couldn't win. The extras wonder why the healer went alone. Without hesitation, he casts a heal. The monster agonizes and he dodges the attack. The boss's health is dropping and people wonder how a healer is dealing damage. The egghead girl is shocked because he's not only dealing damage but in large amounts. The leader realizes it's probably some talent effect. He can also convert resurrection into a shield. Apparently, he can invert healing into damage. They feel rejected with reason, but the egghead girl says it doesn't matter because soon he won't be able to see the monster and thus won't be able to deal damage. While Jiang dodges, she keeps criticizing. What she didn't expect was that Jiang calculated the boss's distance for the moment it disappeared. He already knew where the circle would be invoked correctly. Then he just used the magic to hit even without seeing. She keeps wanting to bother, but the leader tells her to be quiet. In the end, they were the arrogant ones, as the boy can apparently kill the boss alone. This ability of his must have come from a very rare skill book. The girl then apologizes, saying they ended up embarrassing themselves. The boss dies, and the protagonist obtains a gold staff, a gold knife, and immediately there's an announcement that the server event is complete, and the point exchange shop will open in 10 minutes. The protagonist is very happy. Besides the regular items, he also got 5 other gold items. The server mission was well worth it. He will have 134,000 points, and they will share the remaining 33,000. The girls thank him, as no one else managed to get that much. The captain then calls for him. Jiang asks if he's trying to steal the items he got. The guy says no, he actually wants to buy them. Now the protagonist smiles, saying if that's the case, he does have some items. The guy asks to take a look, and he shows the items. Seeing that list, the guy is shocked, asking if he's the server warehouse. Jiang states the prices and says that since there's no credit and no returns, they have to pay up front. What the guys don't know is that he's only selling silver items. They have no idea he also has gold items. With the transaction complete, he thanks them, saying the brother is very generous and can come back anytime. The knight asks why his mood changed so quickly. He says one shouldn't hold a grudge against someone who gives them money. She asks where they're going, and he says he's heading to the snowy forest, but they can go to the main city. He believes that from now on, the class change shouldn't involve fighting, so he doesn't need the blessing of the goddess of love either. The girls then say they're going to rest a bit since they've been playing for over 12 hours. The moon says she's also going to log off, but wants to ask the protagonist something first. He asks what it is. She approaches, blushing, and wants to know if he would like to leave a like in this video to help Mamoru make more juicy content for his viewers, activate the cheeky little bell, and impt out.